Welcome to the Bionicle Mask of Light 20th Anniversary Commentary. I am your host, Liam, also known as Vahkiti, and with us today we have some very special guests, starting with Bob Thompson. Welcome back, Bob.
Hi, good to hear.
Harry Shakespeare.
Hello, glad to be here.
And last but not least, David Molina.
Hello, everyone. Nice to be here.
Now, this show is about the creatives first and foremost, so I'm going to sit back and let the professionals do the talking. So, happy Bionicle Day, and we hope you all enjoy the show.
Seems like we wanted to do a custom thing with the Miramax logo, but they wouldn't let us.
Gathered friends, listen again to our legend of the Bionicle. In the time before time, the Great Spirit descended from the heavens, carrying we, the ones called the Matora, to this paradise.
We had a great visual director on this. His name was Dwayne Luce, who helped come up with this beautiful beginning.
Duty and destiny. We embrace these gifts, and in gratitude, we named our island home Mata Nui, after the Great Spirit himself. But our happiness was not to last. For Matanui's brother, the Makuta, was jealous of these honors and betrayed him, casting a spell over Matanui, who fell into a deep slumber. The Makuta was free to unleash his shadows. And unleash them, he did.
Nathan did such a great job with the score there, didn't he?
Oh, definitely.
He did.
Look, Puku. That's why they call me the Chronicler. Oh, I bet no one's ever recorded this before.
This sequence was one of their earliest scenes that were fully rendered into color that we all got very excited about when we first saw it. Our friends at CG were instrumental in getting these nice, really realistic looking renderings.
I think it's, you look at this movie today and you kind of think, oh, that stuff is easy. But back then, it was really hard. I mean,
it's like state of the art back then.
And then the time that they spent making lava look actually like it was a flowing molten lava. Wasn't.
Bob, do you recall the early CG renderings you did over at Lego for the? Those were beautiful. Those are very inspirational, also, for all of this.
Yeah, well, that was largely Christian. That was Christian Faber.
Oh, really?
That's right.
Yeah, he was very, very. Yeah, he was art directing that and very close to the team. They were actually done at a small studio in Copenhagen. But what you couldn't do is you couldn't make a whole movie at that. With that team at that price. Yeah, the price point was fine for a 30-second commercial, but there just weren't at the time, and I don't think there even are now, enough animators, in Copenhagen to have We'd have done it. We'd have just run out of people.
Chronicler! Sightseeing, were ya?
I remember Bob was very helpful, helping us learn how a surfer is supposed to move. So it was, we tried to be accurate.
I'd forgotten about that, yeah, because Tahu was on top of the wave at the beginning, which is kind of surfing rather than the real thing.
I wish we had photos because Bob was posing for us on a surfboard. And
After you've won the calling match, then no more sightseeing.
Yes, Toatahu.
inside that mask had the inscription written in Bionicle alphabet. And I remember going around and around, what are we going to write in there? What's it going to say? Because people are going to translate this. And we had all kinds of ideas.
Yeah.
I think ultimately said Bob was like, just don't put anything, you know, like any dirty jokes or anything that might get us in trouble. I don't remember exactly what it said, but
I'm sure someone will freeze frame it now and find out and post it.
yeah.
One thing I did want to bring up, just out of curiosity, it's been noticed in the past that a lot of the models for the movie were based off prototypes. And I'm wondering if you guys have any stories about that.
Yeah, you know, we were just talking a while ago, we'd get a box of Bionicle characters prototypes from Lego, which were so cool. We'd go to work putting them together.
Thrilled to be here.
I don't know if any of them, some of them were not approved for production yet. They were early.
Yeah.
But we had a kick seeing all these exotic, you know, Bionicles
That you couldn't buy yet.
Yeah, come across, and they were really neat.
Yeah, quite
They
a
had
lot of
little
them were
stamps
carved
from the
foam.
factory on them.
Yeah, we had quite a lot that were carved foam, and they were just hand carved with craft knives. One of the things we also did with the movie, and it was very intentional, we wanted the movie characters to look like the models were a Lego representation of them, rather than be exactly like the toy experience. And it was really, that was about having each media type have its own look. So if you looked at what happened with the online flash game, the Matanui Adventure had a distinct 2D look. It wasn't accurate to the toy, and that was very intentional.
Right.
You wanted it to feel like the film was the film, the game was the game, and then the toy was the toy. So there wasn't neither was better nor worse than the other. They just weren't. They were just representations of each other.
Yeah, I was so happy when Lego, gave us all that leeway to do that, because we just were not excited about making a 75-minute commercial, but we really wanted it to feel like it was a movie first and then the toys came second. That was kind of our attitude.
That was the bar to try to reach.
Right.
And actually, we've just seen those two characters come on. If you look at the articulation they have and the range of movement they have in the shoulder, you just can't get that from the plastic model. It requires deforming, and it was nice in the way that that leeway allowed performance and acting to be better. It allowed the masks to move, as you can see in the facial expressions here.
Yeah.
It was
And
very
the same
interesting
with
as well how the art style kind of changed as the movie developed, because I remember you guys had created capers showcasing the original animation test that you did, which was a lot closer to the actual toys.
Right. Yeah, I think that first test we did, I think it was just totally based on the toy.
Yes.
We didn't do. Then we started thinking that we would love to get eye blinks and eye directions, so we came up with the idea of the glowing eye, and I think it was pretty successful. Another thing Lego I couldn't believe they let us do, and it was wonderful, is you know, as you know, the toy have the weapon type hands and arms, and we thought, you know, we really need to get a human like hand so we can express properly, and they went along with it. And, you know, I never really knew. I think the fans, it was kind of mixed, you know, whether they would accept that or not, but I think they did.
Yeah, we were trying to look for the optimal route in order to get the character's performance to hold your attention and to be able to service a movie script with everything that was demanded of these characters. So we, you know, that's why we had to do certain things to get that to get more expression.
Little Matrix scene here.
that was a lot of you know, Hong Kong action movie. It's actually dropped in here as well, wasn't there, with the, you know, the speed shift and all of that stuff. So it was kind of from that sort of from Wu tradition. Time. That was another fun thing. We wanted to create a little bit of a rift or a personality problem between the Toa because it made the story a little bit more interesting.
Good shooting, Hookie.
And it was difficult because you've only got so much time, and if you try and service a story about the Toa and a story about the Matoran and what are the Turaga doing and all the villages, it would be impossible to do that in, you know, you'd need a television season to cover all of that stuff. But I think it was neat the way that we got the little personality stuff in with the Toa there and a few other points, so that at the end you felt that the Toa had their own story in there. But really, it's, you know, this is the Matoran story. Actually, here's another fun thing. I don't know if I'm sure people are aware, but that's a representation of the lid of the canister from that season.
Oh, that's right.
This is the great Kanohi
So
mask.
the idea of
A mask to be worn
it's a
only
barnacle
once.
that appear in all sorts of places.
The prophecy is being fulfilled.
A Toa of light.
Okay, there's the text. Someone's going to have to translate it.
Yeah. And
Legends foretell the coming of a seventh Toa, who would bring light to the shadows and awaken Matanui.
What are we waiting for? We should prepare for this Toa's arrival.
BIONICLE is just a very rich world. That's Terry and I and Sue really, our partner Sue really liked the richness, the diversity, biodiversity of this world really attracted us.
it was the huge universe that Bob and the writers created, and it was like, it was a lot to learn. Even to this day, we can hardly remember a lot of the characters. Are such a rich universe.
Must be the herald of the seventh Toa.
But I didn't tell them the truth. Say
I have to go back to Word documents to find them all, to be honest.
I say, hail Jala! All hail Jala! Herald of the seventh Toa!
Hail Jala! Hail Jala! You cannot do this to me. You have to be the herald.
Captain of the guard, approach.
Love what's it.
It seems the Mask of Light has chosen you. Will you seek the seventh Toa?
I will. And Takua the Chronicler has volunteered to join me.
Perfect. While Jala makes history, you will record it. Soon, we will have another great chapter to add to our wall.
Yes, Taraga. It will be full of Jala's brave deeds.
Love the voice of Turaga Vakama.
The seventh Toa.
Christopher Gaze is amazing at what he did. He actually, preceding this event this year, he's actually recorded some new dialogue for us, which was very nice of him.
Wow, that's terrific.
You travel with Golly?
No, she has gone to ponder the great thoughts.
That's a quote from my dad, going to ponder the great thoughts, but I'm not going to tell you what he's going to do.
I like that.
A seventh star.
The earth shudders, my brother. The seventh tower has begun its approach. Again, the prophecy
Touching again on the subject of prototypes, Makuta and the Rakshi in particular were interesting to note, and we've actually seen some of those prototypes pop up on eBay. It was very interesting to see that Makuta's mask seemed to have been just kit bashed between a Pakari and a Vahi just put together.
I must preserve your slumber. Their unity can be poisoned.
So if anyone has got a German version of this, one thing you'll notice is that the color of Makuta's eyes is different in the German version.
That's right.
And because Red Scary Eyes got us a higher rating, and actually his eyes are a different color in that version.
Looks like Henry has joined us. Welcome, Henry Gilroy.
Hello
Henry.
there. Sorry for my tardiness.
Good.
Hi, Henry.
Nice to see you.
Toa Pohatu has left for the north. He spreads word of your search.
Oh, thanks. I'll take any help I can, give to Jala for his quest. The one that's his, that is.
Look, don't get mushy, Jala. I have no time for a long goodbye.
I was just gonna say, well, you owe me a rematch on the Coley field.
Well then, you'd better hurry back, because I'll be practicing.
His expression there is priceless, isn't it? It's it captures that moment beautifully.
Yes.
You guys did such a fantastic job with the emotion of the mass. I remember writing the script thinking, how are they going to do this? How are they going to pull it off? You know, I've worked on superhero shows before, and just the expressions you got in the eyes, and we had some terrific voice acting too.
I think part of the animation, we when we did the storyboards, we designed how the characters would be drawn in the storyboards for two reasons. One of them, they were so complicated. They had to be designed for storyboards to be simple to draw quickly. But I think that was an advantage because then the expressions were designed into that, and then the CG animators would try to copy that. But they were drawn super simple, cartoony almost in the boards. And I think that helped the animators with the performance, using that for reference.
I remember there being a ton of time spent on getting the facial expressions and getting the mouth shapes right as well. That was, the grills in the Toa masks, the light behind, everything was really, really well considered, and I think
wasn't there like a chain, some research and development between the shape of the mouths and also like whether you were going to do light, have the light kind of come on as they spoke?
Yes.
Just so you notice, that's obviously a second canister lid as a different piece of design. Actually, a weird thing about some of the textures on these guys, there's a we were allowed into a museum in Taipei where they had all these jade knives and ancient I think they were jade blades, and we were able to kind of look at that, and I think that found its way into the texture design, didn't it? Of the back of the Rakshi there.
Definitely, yeah.
That's right.
There we go.
These guys are a little bit inspired by the Xenomorph, I think.
Yeah.
Which we're all big fans of.
That was back when water was really hard to do. And we'd see water in the script and we're like, oh my God, please, do we really have to do water?
I think I remember that. Like,
it turned out pretty
Still
good.
really hard to do. I'm working on a project at the moment that's, integral to the story is wind and rain and storms, and with furry characters, it's an absolute nightmare even now.
Yeah.
So back then it was super hard.
Especially just the interaction of the character in the water, it's really difficult.
I think you guys said, can you keep them above the water or below the water, but not in the water?
Can they be underwater?
You guys pulled it off. So. Oh my gosh, I love these masks. I don't know if I told you guys, but for the first time at WonderCon, I saw some mid-20s, I'll say kids, but youngish adults wearing Tahu masks, because these kids were raised with this movie and they watched the heck out of it. So now they're cosplaying the characters. It's kind of awesome.
Oh man, I'd love to see that.
I was so shocked I didn't take a picture. I just yelled Tahu. And this kid raised this big red sword that he had carved out of foam, and I was like, this is amazing.
Wow. Oh, impressive. I remember on Tahu there when he pulled his swords out, it was like, where are they coming from? And it was like, it's cartoon logic, they're just coming out of his butt, out of nowhere. And then he was like, okay, that's good enough for me.
Oh my gosh, I remember the grief Bob got for this attack and how dark and scary it was. I said, this has got to be the most terrifying thing ever, and Bob's like, they won't let us do that.
It's really funny to think how that attitude kind of shifted over the years. And even by the time we get to Web of Shadows, where by the end of the movie, you see the floor of the Colosseum is just littered with the parts of dead Vizarok.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of David and I, we just go dark as well. I mean, it was like, and we thought, well, let's just see how dark we can go before they stop us.
Oh, and kids love it. They love scary. They love to be scared. I mean,
That's how we felt.
But the strange thing was, the only place we had a problem with getting, the kind of rating that we needed was in Germany, and the fix was to make Makuta's eyes less red.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with this scene at all, which I think is far.
Isn't it interesting? Something about red.
Yeah. Deep voice and scary red eyes was one of the ones.
Yes.
I love it.
One more step and
I'll take it from here, wise one.
This is another one of those great moments where we've got characters with huge great swords, and we're not allowed to show them as swords.
I know, that drove you and I crazy. Music's so good.
I love the way he touches his hand down there. That's a nice touch.
You could tell that was probably boarded by some Southern California guys, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or are you, Bob? Bob used to sneak away and go surfing all the time.
Hey, I didn't sneak away ever and go surfing, not once.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, I thought you did. Oh, of course you did.
Weekends.
He'd come into our studio with carrying his longboard.
I would, yeah. I would get up at 4:30 in the morning to go surf before work.
The Mask of Light?
Then they seek the seventh Toa. Jala and Takua.
We'll summon the Toa to find them.
Don't trouble the others, sister. I'll see to their safety myself.
No, Tahu, no. We must remain united.
These guys would make great stop motion puppets.
I hate the jungle. It's all sticky, full of bugs.
How can you say that? It's incredible. Is there any place on Matanui where you
I was going to say, I remember for quite a few years, grass was like the enemy of any CG studio, especially CG.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Super intense. All that, tons of juice.
Oh my gosh! After this project, I think it was CG who animated this, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And afterward, I went to work on the Clone Wars series at Lucasfilm, and I remember George always asking, like, why can't we get good grass? And trying to explain to him how difficult it was, back then. I know now they've got all sorts of programs and algorithms for that.
Yeah, you would think that would be something that's easy to do, but it wasn't. Same with lots of leaves and trees.
Oh my gosh!
Just rendering.
The more geometry, the more heavy.
Yeah, even as late as on Rebels, which was 2013, 2014, grass was an issue in our interaction with grass.
Bear fight like that, little one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right here.
Water and grass, and then the grass there is moving, of course, so that even makes it more fun.
And the tree in the background, if you look, it's quite impressive to have moving foliage back then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, what's that for? You and Ash Bear got no wrong quarrel? Just doing her duty.
So we just went past a little section where we were talking about Nathan earlier with the score. There's just a little bit of Western music that drops in for like two bars.
Slight magnificent.
While he's riding on the back of the Rahi. It's great.
Yeah. Seek the seventh Toa.
He seeks. I follow. He's the herald. I'm just his biographer.
If Toa Liwa helped on your search, might he be a spirit lift?
You? With us?
We'd be honored to have you walk with us.
Walk? Ha! Not never. If you ride with me, there'll be no foot walking, just air flying.
Remember, there was another animation test that came after the one that was closer with the toys that used Lewanuva, and it had dialogue from, what was it, Dirty Harry?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
For quick learning.
I was just thinking about, Henry, do you remember how long it took to write the dialogue? I think that was one of the hardest pieces of dialogue.
It was really tricky to kind of capture the essence of the character, because I think all of the the legendary heroes, we really wanted to give them unique voices and have them feel special. And there's a bunch of them, so yeah, I think we wrote that probably 4 or 5 times, that scene.
I seem to remember sat in the back room at Creative Capers across the street. There was that little upstairs room that wasn't so much used, and you and I must have drunk a jug of coffee and eaten 2 packets of M&Ms by the time we were done.
Yeah.
What? We're here.
I don't think anyone involved with the writing process for any of the Bionicle lore really liked using tree speak at all. It became such a huge problem for people writing it.
Yeah, it's a challenge. I think anytime you kind of create a world like this, so much thought goes into it to make it feel unique and special, but yet still relatable. And as long as you kind of keep the humanity of the characters, it's always at the heart of it, you kind of dress it up with that, and I think that, like we were talking about before, the acting that you put into the characters, you're communicating so much with just pose and expression, where if you don't understand exactly what they're saying, it's okay, because you're getting it through even the tone of the voice.
Yeah.
No time to
I think that was a big thing to get every scene so it worked without the dialogue. I think there was a lot of pain went into to getting there, because some of our audience could potentially be quite young and might struggle to follow the dialogue. We wanted to make the story hang together whether you heard the dialogue or not. And then
one thing I wanted to point out for backstory a little bit is that, as Bob was saying earlier about every one of these things related to Bionicle, whether it's a movie or a game, they all have a different, slightly different art direction look. And what we wanted to do also is add a layer into the characters themselves. If you look closely on close-up scenes, you can see slight muscle groupings behind the metal, or the chest, if you see, or stomach muscles. And that was intentionally done to give the characters, a biomechanical type look.
A little more organic.
Yeah, it works great. I also think that the sound, so much goes into it, but besides this heroic, terrific score, right, my Nathan, the sound of the characters is they feel more organic than they do mechanical. There's not servos hissing and whirring and that kind of thing.
Right. I think in the first test we did, you could hear little servos and stuff.
Yes.
I was kind of glad that was dropped out, because it was just so obvious and not necessary.
I think Tim Barquez, I think we need to give him a little shout out, because those guys, they won 2 golden reels with the Bionicle movies.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
They did a great job with the sound.
They really did.
Yeah, you guys won the Mask of Lightning and won the Saturn Awards Best DVD as well.
That's right.
Right there.
mine's over there.
Captain of the guard never runs.
I have a confession. Kopaka is my favorite Toa. I'm sure we've all got a favorite Toa. I just love the minimal dialogue that he delivers.
It is great voice too.
He is so cool, literally.
No. The mask.
Washed and chilled.
Love that line.
Great line.
That was you, Bob. I'm pretty sure you wrote that.
Oh no, that was you. That was another long afternoon with coffee and M&Ms.
That scene was very well storyboarded.
Good moves.
Even I get lucky sometimes.
Not luck. It's what you do that makes it.
I like that how we kind of set up this. Yeah, he's great. He's so good. I love how we kind of set up the beginning that a one of our heroes gets poisoned, so that later on you kind of worry. Oh gosh, are these guys gonna make it? You know, even though we have these interactions with our heroes, you're never quite sure if the guys are going to make it out of it. So there's really good tension.
Another thing that people have noticed over the years that I wanted to touch on, in the previous scene there, you saw Kopaka readjusting Takua's mask, and there was a deleted scene where during the Coley match, his mask fell off, but you never see his face. You only see him from behind. You guys were very, very careful not to show the faces under the masks at any point.
Yeah, they were kind of hideous. I think people would look at them and go, "What is that?" You know, they're.
But also, I think that would have lost the illusion as well, because these characters express through their masks.
Right.
I mean, yeah, they can change their masks, but
it's literally like taking your face off. You know.
Yeah.
It would have just been a bit weird. There was a movie around that time called Face Off where someone did just that, but it was
right. I remember that.
Hey
Bob, what is that? What does that say up there on the wall?
I can't read it. Someone's got some bioluminescent antlers in the way. But,
I don't remember what that says.
It does say
all of those things had little messages.
Yes.
That we spent a lot of time
I
writing.
remember this scene was not in the script. You guys kind of did this played this whole thing, the beginning of it.
So am I.
I know who you are. I'm not
The dreaded red eyes, Bob.
Shadows cannot hide your fear or the truth.
What truth?
So did they alter the eyes or just cut the whole movie out? Or
No, it was color corrected. It was color corrected, and
it was color corrected. What color?
Yeah,
did they
and I think the audio was just taken down, just a little bit less menacing.
Okay.
Die because of you. So my hand is cast.
We always wanted to keep Makuta dark and in the shadows, so you couldn't really make out his form too much. And the inspiration for him was Marlon Brando in Apocalypse Now. That character.
Great.
You liked the way he was. You just saw parts of him and this brooding character in the dark, you know, holding his sweaty head. You know, that was kind of our inspiration for him.
Yeah, and that was great because I remember when you pitched that to me, it was just like, okay, that's one of my favorite films there. So any reference to that is fine as long as it's.
And that character was scary.
It was.
Onua, my friend. It seems bashing
This is another awesome location. I love how I think at the initial pitch you guys were like, "Can we cut down one location?" I'm like, "No, I gotta see all six Toa and see where they hang out."
Yes.
Sometimes try doing a real job. Say, how goes the carving?
Their work is magnificent, but
So hot too.
nowhere near as good as the other tidings I bring.
What an entrance.
those, except different ones.
Just those are plenty for now.
Welcome to Onu Koro.
I love the scale and how cinematic the action sequences are. You know, the dialogue and friendship scenes are so intimate, and then we kind of open it out. Really, you know, build the action to be big and epic. They did a great job.
That was a really tough directing challenge actually Terry and David took on and actually really nailed. These characters have these kind of quite gave them quite specific powers that were elemental. And yet how do you on screen show poison? How do you on screen show, these difficult? That comes across really clearly.
I love that little hint toward Makua's true nature or potential.
Yeah, there was even a little spark of electricity between him and the Coley part.
Brother!
Fire has no brothers.
I love that particular mask you could select. You know, the poisoned mask. I love that version of it.
Yeah.
Really cool. I think they were hard to come by back in the day.
Quick speed to Jala. Warn him.
I will. Cuckoo! Where are you going? Come on, girl. Atta girl. All right, up. Okay. Keep going.
Just looking at Puku, it's such a great character, and it was never really a model. And
I was going to ask
to
you
make
if
a
there
grab, but it didn't really quite ever quite work. I remember the pain of retaking the walking. It was one of the things I really wanted was that Puku should be like both a Labrador and a rally car. In one context. But it was. I know that's a tough brief, right?
It's always so funny to me to think when you go through the credits and you realize that Puku and Makuta have the same voice actor of Lee Talker. It's amazing the range that he has.
Once again, Bob, does it have to be water?
It is her elemental power, so yes.
Yeah, it's like we're going, okay.
Get the checkbook out, Bob.
Kopaka, do you think that Turaga were right about us? Have we lost our unity? Kopaka?
I know Clint Eastwood meets Batman. I know we talked about that.
Matanui, where does my destiny lie? Well, I guess I asked. Oh, what now?
Grab on!
Well. Whatever happened to I quit?
I could have, but I didn't. Bad news. More Rakshi. They've taken Onokoro.
The Mask of Light was never at Onokoro.
They don't want the mask. They're looking for the Herald.
You sure?
Most or all the characters, if you notice, have those little chest lights that we put in. Their little heart light that we put in to signify life, of course.
Yeah, more water there, guys.
Sister,
Oh no.
That was
just not
probably my
splashing.
Brother, are you well?
No. No, I'm not well. But I am alive, and in your debt, my sister.
I remember that hours of agony over how do we bring them back together? How do we reunite them? What's the perfect way to do it? And that scene was so simple.
It's a special
in the end.
place.
Sure this thing is working right?
I think we tried a lot of complicated ideas to make that happen, and all it was a fist bump.
Right.
Whoa! What did you do? This is it. The seventh Toa must be here. Roxy! Give me the mask!
Jala, no. We both know the mask chose me. I'm the true herald.
Are you sure? Even now?
Yes, I am the herald, and I say run!
Oh, now what?
Do you remember how hard that transformation was for the animators?
Oh yeah, a lot of work, a lot of layers.
That was one of the most difficult shots in the film, in spite of it not having water in it.
Yeah, yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Especially like you said earlier, I mean, for the time 2003, or this was all pretty new technology doing this stuff. It was very difficult compared to today.
Yeah, so many of the effects that you guys kind of shepherded and created are kind of out of the box now. You know, all of those particle effects for the it's just you guys said it's
so much easier.
You guys did a fantastic job of, you know, with CG really making them feel fresh. You know,
all this just to discover who I am.
You have finally found your own story.
Limitations, yeah.
Still, you seek answers. Mata Nui
I know. Compared, I think Pixar was still spending like $80 million back then on these things.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You understand. Your destiny is clear.
My duty is clear. Jala's sacrifice.
Yeah, even just lighting a scene was difficult, getting it to look right. Rendering. CG, you know, hats off to them. They did amazing job.
Oh yeah.
Animating.
And kind of, you know, your strategy of kind of building the small sets and foreground, and then having the map paintings in background. You know, that experience came in handy. We did it all the time on Clone Wars, and they produced that in 2005 and
really
on.
Helped.
Yeah.
But united, our power defeated the Rakshi.
Yeah, then you can get.
It will take nothing less to defeat the Makuta.
I have but one destiny. Yours lie with the Matoran and the Turaga.
That's nice.
I like that mask.
Yeah, it's great design, 12 light.
I remember Bob's like, oh, how does he get down to I was like, oh yeah, I should burn a hole in the ground and like dive in. He's like, no, he needs to ride a motorcycle. I'm like, what are you talking about? No, he should just go down. No, he should get on a motorcycle. I'm like, what? And he's like, look, Henry, they already designed the box. I'm like, oh, okay, I understand.
Pretty cool.
Love that the fuel for it is actually 3 of the the Rakshis inside the.
That's
the
right. That's right. Yeah, those weird worm things.
Oh,
It's time someone was your chronicler.
I love that aspect of the toy. Is they're all hard and crunchy and mechanical, and then there's this soft gooey thing that you put inside of them. It's such an awesome boys toy. Like,
I am done running. Mata Nui will be awakened this day.
Something you were mentioning earlier, the most of the characters lacking the servo sound, so I think it's a very good contrast that Makuta is the only one that really has a lot of those crunchy mechanical sounds.
You are still just.
Yes.
yeah,
And I remember when we were mixing that, it was just trying to do it mostly on close-ups, I think, when you're...
Yeah, so you could really hear the characters closer, let's say, to the audience. You could hear all that sound layering.
I love that reveal shot when he comes walking out of the darkness and you see the scale. You're like, oh, you're really worried for your hero. So good.
Like seeing a creepy spider for the first time with the lights on. I was telling Terry one weekend, I came back and because we had to figure out how to animate animate Makuta. And I had an uncle who was really big, and but he could move really quick, and he scared me as a child because it's kind of scary, imposing guy. But I told Terry that's how I wanted to approach him. Is even though he's big, he's very swift if he wants to be. Makuta.
Who's that? Uncle who?
My Uncle Alan.
Uncle Alan. You can say Makuta was based on Uncle Alan. I remember that.
I like how there's some really kind of weird esoteric ideas going on too, about like awakening of the spirit, and the around the game and how the game is kind of combat. I know Bob and I had a lot of discussions about this final battle and how it should play out, because we can't really have a fight to the death, so to speak. So what can we do to make it something that's really interesting and thematical?
I also remember there's loads of dialogue in this particular part of the film that doesn't actually make sense in the context of this film. It's the whole thing about my brother shall not be awakened.
Yeah.
It has no purpose here, but it was all laying up. Yeah, it was all set up for later movies.
And what I like, it hints at a more benevolent mission for Makuta. If anything, you're right. It doesn't really make sense, but it's kind of good that it doesn't.
It's a personal thing for me. I hate bad guys that don't have a good reason. It's like, he's got a perfectly good reason for behaving the way he's behaving, and that's his mission throughout the storyline.
Another Matrix shot.
Protect Matanui from you.
Protect him?
Sleep spares him pain. Awake, he suffers.
I always like this shot. That's cool. Scary.
My duty is to the mask of shadows.
Yeah, Makuta especially feels like a stop motion guy, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Very Ray Harryhausen.
Yep.
Yeah. Ray Harryhausen was a big inspiration. That's probably why.
I actually remember we all had to sit down and watch a whole bunch of Ray Harryhausen films.
That's right. Yeah.
Was Makuta on twos then, or is it just slightly? Yeah, we're watching the stream. It's a bit.
Yeah, I think he was on twos. Yeah.
That gives that stop motion-y feel, doesn't it?
A little tiny bit jerky.
Little throaty.
Great.
Yeah.
Something weird and creepy is happening. We're all going to gather around in a circle and watch it at close.
Hey, you gotta have a sky beam to end the movie, Bob. Come on.
Apocalypse Now kind of reference there as well.
Yeah.
I love the duality of this whole thing, and I remember actually this being something that you threw in, and then they combine. I'm like, wait, what are you talking about?
Light has revealed the will of Matanui. Our brother must be awakened. its life.
Funny looking back at the model of Takuta Nuva and how most of Makuta's armor just turns straight up red. Because there are some early screenshots from the movie where Makuta didn't have any of the rust or anything. He was just red at some point.
Love that Jollar theme.
Like Nathan's music and
Yeah,
great.
fantastic.
My duty is done.
Get out of there!
Let us awaken the Great Spirit. Unity. Duty.
Thinking about how many times we had to retake that line.
Destiny.
I know a lot of kids in the U.S. every time they talk about their duty.
You're alive! Coley head, you could have been Makuta Bones.
Could have been, but I'm not.
United, we embraced our duty. Light found itself and illuminated our destiny. The city of the Great Spirit, my island home, refound. New legends awake, but old lessons must be remembered. This is the way of the Bionicle.
I think I wrote that ending dialogue with you, Bob, like 50 times too.
Yeah, that was one of those scenes that was again and again and again and again. Yeah, it's not quite right. Did that finally get done the night we had to ship it?
I want to say it was, yeah, like it was like ADR at the last second. Oh wait, we should say this and that, and kind of cool and mysterious, and a promise of something to come, but
there was one night, and I can't remember what it was, but it was submission night, and I can't remember if it was this one or the second one, where it was like, it's 4:30, 4:45, and we know that New York is going to wake up at a certain time pretty soon, so we've got to hit send.
I remember that.
We were still writing.
I think it was like, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and we go, okay, you're right, because it's 4 o'clock over there, and I don't know, did we go out to In-N-Out at like 12:30 or something like that? I can't remember.
Well, I think that'll just about do it for the commentary today. Does anyone have any closing thoughts?
I want to do another one. That'd be really cool.
We had a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah, we
this
did.
was nice. Absolutely. If you guys want to come back next year for Legends of Metru Nui, we could totally do it.
Yeah, okay, definitely.
All right, we'll be in touch about that then.
Okay.
Well, for the time being, I have been your host, Liam, and I hope you all enjoy this year's Bionicle Day. Thank you for watching.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.